One Zambia, one nation. Welcome to ZANIS News. The headlines. VIP calls for partnership in implementing Children's Code Act. Government resumes NEPA training for civil servants. More stakeholders praise President Hichilema's directive to review fuel prices. And National Day of Prayer, Fasting and Repentance launched. To present the news in detail, my name is Trust Pemba. The Vice President, Mutale Nalumango, has called for continued partnership in the implementation of the Children's Code Act. Ms. Nalumango says government and stakeholders should work together to ensure the Act does not remain a mere legal document, but an instrument for positive change in the lives of children. ZANIS reports that the Vice President said the enactment of the Children's Code Act is a testament of the government's commitment to safeguarding the rights and the well-being of children. She said it is imperative to prioritize capacity building for child justice actors. Ms. Nalumango states that the Act focuses on the protection of child victims and witnesses in investigative and judicial processes. She said this during the official launch of the Child Justice Week, being held under the theme, Corroborate Implementation of the Children's Code Act, Transforming Child Justice in Zambia. Speaking earlier, Deputy Chief Justice Michael Msonda said the Child Justice Week is an opportunity to recorrect on the progress made in the implementation of the CCA.
Child justice is indispensable. Therefore, let us continue to work together, strengthen our collaborative efforts, and place a special focus on strengthening the capacity of our child justice professionals. Together, we can ensure that the Children's Code Act becomes a powerful tool for the protection and well-being of our children in Zambia. Let me reiterate that the new Dawn administration remains committed to actualizing the provisions of this act. We, however, recognize that this can only be achieved through continued collaboration and cooperation, as outlined in this year's theme. We must work hand in hand, just as we did to bring this act to fruition.
The institution has had to endure countless obstacles and frustrations in relation to the practical implementation of this celebrated and truly laudable piece of legislation. Unfortunately, as judiciary, we do not enjoy the luxury which might be available to the executive arm of government as the conceivers of the law or the legislature as the enactors of the law in question. I say this because while the two arms of government conceive and bring about legislation such as our Children's Code and leave matters there, our sacred law as adjudicators does not permit merely admiring the law as it is printed on paper. Our sacred law does not allow us to merely admire that law as it sits on paper. Our role requires, nay, demands, that we breathe life into the law, that we see to it that justice is administered in accordance with the dictates of the law in question.
Minister of Information and Media, Cornelius Mwetwa, has called on media bodies in the country to come up with legislation that is anchored on self-regulation. Mr. Mwetwa says coming up with a self-regulated legislation will help promote ethical conduct and behavior control for journalists across the country, adding that doing so will also help promote professionalism in the media fraternity. ZANIS reports that the minister said this today during a media interaction meeting where different heads of media houses were in attendance. Mr. Mwetwa observed that just like any other profession, Media professionals also need a tool that self-regulates their professional conduct. He said if this is implemented, journalists will go against the law, which will be reprimanded by the law. Mr. Mwetwa also observed that having a self-regulated media fraternity will also allow trained and qualified journalists to be going in the field. Mr. Mwetwa stated that currently a number of journalists are masquerading as journalists when in fact they are not trained journalists.
As media fraternity, to consider coming up with legislation anchored on self-regulation in order to promote ethical conduct and behavior and professionalism, whose consequence is naturally going to esteem your profession in the like manner that lawyers, and I'm a lawyer, are self-regulating, in the manner that accountants now are self-regulating, in the manner that purchasing practitioners are now self-regulating, so that those who may go out of professional and ethical conduct may not attract sanction from other people, but from amongst peers who understand that integrity and the nobility of a profession should be guarded by all. It is my belief that such self-regulation will also ensure that only qualified journalists are able to take to the field to practice journalism, so that the reportage is out of training and not just coincidence of a moment.
Meanwhile, government has called on the media fraternity in the country to be fair, factual, and balanced in informing and educating the public. Minister of Information and Media Cornelius Mwetwa says the media should be factual and not sensational. Mr. Mwetwa says if the media is not balanced and factual, it has the potential to cause misinformation in the country. He notes that government is doing everything possible to ensure that the working environment of the media is free and peaceful. ZANIS reports that the minister said this during the media interaction organized by the Minister of Information and Media in Lusaka today. Mr. Mwetwa adds that the ministry is in the process of reviewing different acts that are aimed at improving the working environment of the media. He stated the process of reviewing the Zambian National Broadcasting Corporation (ZNBC) Act to promote its mandate of being a public broadcaster and the Independent Broadcasting Authority (IBA) Act.
It is our expectation that as government we shall guard jealously your privileges and rights as media fraternity. And we commit to that. But that as we do the same, we expect of you to be cognizant of certain obligations that naturally come by virtue of the role you play in the governance of our country. Namely, responsible reporting. Responsible reporting. Let us report factually and not sensationally. Let us educate and inform the citizens on what matters to their lives and the progress of the country, and not be used as platforms of impediment to progress that all our citizens cherish to see. Let us provide a platform for divergent views to find a marketplace to compete, but let us not take sides in that discourse. Let us leave those who are competing to compete on the basis of the veracity of their ideas.
In Northern Province, government has resumed the training programs for the public and civil service workers in the country. A team of civil service commissioners and the National Institute of Public Administration, NIPA, led by Cabinet Office Permanent Secretary Special Duties, Wisdom Bwalia, visited Northern Province and held a stakeholders engagement meeting for the mandatory public and civil service training and certification programs. Taonga Nkoma gave us details in the following report.
In order to enhance professionalism in the public service, government, in partnership with the National Institute for Public Administration, will resume civil service training courses effective January 2024. A team of service commissioners and the National Institute for Public Administration, NIPA, are in Northern Province for a stakeholders engagement and consultation on public service training and certification. This follows President Hakainde Hichilema's directive to resume the retraining of civil servants.
We somehow lost the spirit of having an effective and efficient civil service in terms of service delivery. You recall, Honorable Minister, that sometime in 1997-98, NIPA was made as a semi-autonomous institution, and it veered off, and along the way I think some compromise was kind of made. So following, I think, a visit that was made, that was in July by the Republican President, this directive was made. And we have therefore realized that, okay, we need to actually come out here and start sensitizing the masses.
And speaking when the commissioners paid the Ketesiko on him, Northern Province Minister Leonard Imbao highlighted some of the challenges that the province is facing in various departments.
I think we are now going to the roots. I think this is what the president wants. Let's go to the roots. Let's start from the basics. We are now being assured to say that there is light at the end of the tunnel. We are going back to those glory days where civil service were busy every day going to the office trying to achieve the aspirations of the country.
The provincial administration is confident that the training and certification program will go a long way in molding the public service. Taonga Nkoma for ZANIS in Kasama.
The Zambia Police Service Commission Chairperson Peter Machungwa says reviving the training and certification programs for public service workers at National Institute for Public Administration shows government's commitment to strengthening public service performance. Mr. Machungwa said the implementation follows a presidential directive to NIPA to start offering mandatory public service training and certification programs effective January 2024. 10 sub-chiefs from Kalumbila district of Northwestern Province have apologized to the government for causing unrest in the district in 2022. The sub-chief says they have realized that their actions through the residents were wrong, stating that there were better ways of resolving issues. Here is a report.
In September 2022, residents of Kalumbila district in the Northwestern Province rioted in a bid to press Kalumbila mine and government to prioritize them when it comes to jobs in the mine and contracts to supply goods and services. They further accused the government of siding with the mine management, not them, and vowed not to deal with government in what they termed as a fight for what belongs to them. Exactly a year now, the people of Kalumbila, through 10 sub-chiefs, have traveled from Northwestern Province to Lusaka to apologize to government over their actions, saying they have realized that what they did was wrong and want to work with government. The apology was tendered to the government through Lands and Natural Resources Minister Elijah Mchima, who at the time of the unrest in the district was tasked by President Hakainde Hichilema to mediate between the mine management and the settlers. However, when Mr. Mchima in the company of Northwestern Province Minister Robert Lehefu and the Permanent Secretary went into the district, The people accused them of not being on their side, as they did not want the ministers to hold any meetings with mine management, hence taken to the streets.
We sat down as a community. We see that what we did, it was wrong. So from now, we're supposed to go and apologize to our Honorable Land Minister, Mr. Elijah Muchima. We're supposed to come and apologize because what we did, it was wrong. Even the president himself, we are getting apologies from him so that he can forgive us, because he's the one who sent the Honorable to go and finish this issue. So as we did wrong, so we are getting apologies to the president so that he can forgive us. What we did, it was wrong. We have kneeled down to the president for what we did, it was wrong, so he can forgive us.
The minister says the government is humbled with the decision taken by the sub-chiefs, saying government will continue to work with its people and fight for their well-being.
Land belongs to the people. Mines belong to the people. We are here, God gave us the minerals. People who are investing in the country must respect the owners of the land. And these are the people. Without their blessings, you can't get it. We appreciate and we are ready as a government to work with them. The President Hakainde wants to work with the people who are the owners. And even the structure, it will not leave them out. The same thing he said about Kasensele, the same thing he's saying about mining houses. Nobody will be left behind.
The sub-chiefs who travelled to Lusaka from Kalumbila district included Sub-Chief Muswala, Sub-Chief Chibwiru, Sub-Chief Mbambu, Sub-Chief Mukunga, Sumbukeni, Sekelo, Choma, among others. In the spirit of the Lunda tradition, the sub-chiefs later presented a goat, a chicken, and a bag of cassava to the minister, which acts as a sign of true reconciliation. Kalan Muchima, reporting for ZANIS in Osaka.
Mochinga Province Minister Henry Sikazwe says he is impressed with the performance of companies contracted to deliver seed and fertilizer under the Farm Input Support Program FISIP for the 2023-2024 farming season. Details by Henry Lumpa.
Stocks of farming inputs for the 2023-2024 farming season have been delivered and ready for sale in Chisale district around various depots. Mchinga Province Minister Henry Sikazwe took time to go round various depots and agro shops as he was monitoring the performance of the Farmer Input Support Program FISIP and further interacted with some beneficiary farmers under the program. The provincial minister, who later had a press briefing at his office, expressed delight with the performance of FISIP so far.
We have this year experienced and presented the trade of buying fertilizer by our small-scale farmers from the counter of agro dealers. This new trade can be attributed to the increased and good price of maize, which is at 280 kwacha per bag, in addition to the quick payment of the Food Reserve Agency FRA to the small-scale farmers that had sought the maize.
And earlier, some of the agro dealers visited described the sales in the 2023-2024 farming season as a booster.
We have made a lot of sales this year compared to last season. Yes. And so far we've gone to maybe about 185 to 190 metric tons for fertilizer, yes, just on cash basis.
Here in Chinsari, we've delivered about 30.11 metric tons. Those includes two crops, two crops, which is groundnuts and maize.
Henry Lumpa Jr., ZANIS in Chinsali, Mchinga Province.
Minister of Transport and Logistics, Frank Tayali, has tasked the newly appointed Zambia Railways Board chairperson to improve the current railway status in the country. Mr. Tayali says there is need to establish an effective and efficient rail system, stating that this is why the government is actively seeking investments and collaborating with other countries like China to rehabilitate and commercialize the Zara. Mr. Tayali was speaking when a team from Zambia Railways, led by newly appointed board chairperson Emmanuel Hachipukas, paid a courtesy call on him at his office. The minister says Zambia Railways need to start feeding into all the 10 provinces, adding that this will help reduce the cost of doing business. And Zambia Railways board chairperson Emmanuel Hachipuka has assured the minister that he will work hard to ensure that Zambia Railways is resuscitated. He said the board will sit with management to look at the various available options. In Central Province, the Taxi Driver Association in Kabwe District has welcomed President Hakainde's call on the new Energy Permanent Secretary to probe the monthly review of fuel prices. Kabwe District Taxi Drivers Association Secretary William Mombas told ZANIS that the monthly reviews of the fuel prices have been a great concern for the taxi drivers because it has a negative impact on their operations. Daniel Billy has more in the following report.
Motorists have for the past few months been complaining that it is becoming difficult for businesses as well as individuals to plan and budget on their spending because of the changes being made in various sectors of the economy due to fuel price changes every month. However, President Hakainde has responded to their concern by directing the newly appointed Energy Permanent Secretary, Peter Mumba, to interrogate the monthly fuel pricing. The move has related the Taxi Drivers Association in Kabwe District.
I think the recent directive by the President to instruct the new PS to deal with the monthly review of prices, I think it's a welcome move, because as it is now, it's very difficult for businesses, even for us as taxi drivers, to plan properly, because we don't know each month what price we'll be buying fuel at. So it brings a lot of confusion for us, because if you are buying expensive fuel, definitely we have to pass that to the consumer. So you find that this month the consumer is paying this much, next month the commuter will be paying another price, another fare, so it becomes a problem for us. So it's a good thing that the government wants to revise that. If they can make it even quarterly, it will be better for businesses to plan.
And the taxi driver Peter Msonda charged that the monthly reviews have been hampering their plans.
Sana kuli bakateka bamona kulira kwesu ni bakateka abonfwa bantu bamona kwe bati ama business yesu yaliko a big challenge muna ndo kwati ama customers ebo twalesenda bambalanda nishita mulewesesha bambalanda nishi mwalondira every month twalelanda na ama customers pamitengo nombanga bati bachiteko alifevu balanda tinangudi after 3 months yalaba na business yesu yalaba bwino.
And a motorist also at Maunda says a longer period of reviewing the prices of fuel will promote stability in the economy and assure the business communities.
It's a welcome move. It's a welcome move whereby every month review, it costs. It actually costs. So ngawanda ti monthly review maybe just after 6 months is better off than monthly, it disturbs.
Daniel Billy, ZANIS News, in Kabwe, Central Province.
In Northwestern Province, the Provincial Development Council of Elders has commended President Hakainde for the directive to newly sworn-in Ministry of Energy Permanent Secretary Peter Mumba to devise a fuel pricing mechanism that would be predictable and minimize the economic impact of the Zambian citizens.
President Hichilema's directive to the Minister of Energy Permanent Secretary Peter Mumba to devise a fuel pricing mechanism that will be predictable and minimize the economic impact on the Zambian citizens has excited the people of Northwestern Province. Northwestern Province Development Council of Elders Chairperson Kenneth Kapata made this recommendation.
We thank the President that has appointed Mr. Mumba to become the PS for Energy, and we are only saying he should go by directives. He should go there and look at many other areas that can help us, so that maybe the announcements can be made after 3 months, announcements can be made after 6 months, so that it helps the planners, particularly the business houses.
Some motorists and taxi drivers in Solwezi district expressed themselves.
I think it's timely in terms of looking at how we can stabilize the fuel pricing. As much as we know that this is an economical kind of a factor in the country, and it helps in driving the economy of the country.
It's a good move, and we think it's going to work in such a way that we are going to plan properly for our families than if it was in the first place, where we just wake up and find that the fuel price has been increased. So it's a welcome move, and we hope to work for the benefit of all Zambians.
It doesn't matter what strategy they're trying to use concerning the fuel issue. What matters for us, the people, is if they just have something that is affordable for everyone.
I think the best way is preparing the people, the public, where you put, maybe for a certain period of time, the amount of the prices at which the fuel will be at.
Reporting for ZANIS in Solwezi district, Northwestern Province, I am Hamid Hachilonde.
In education news, Southern Provincial Administration has flagged off the distribution of 104,000 school desks to all the districts in the province, which has a deficit of 115,466 desks. Southern Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Yolanta Malunga, who flagged off the exercise, said the province has engaged 3 public institutions to rehabilitate 17,939 desks at a cost of more than 10 million kwacha. More in the following report.
With the introduction of free education from primary to secondary school, coupled with increased enrollment and massive infrastructure development through the Constituency Development Fund (CDF), Southern Province has a shortfall of 115,466 desks for learners. However, the deficit is narrowing now, following the flagging of the distribution of more than 100,000 desks and the rehabilitation of 17,900 desks.
17,939 desks are being rehabilitated in 3 centers. 8,628 are being rehabilitated at St. Margari, where we are today. 2,785 at Livingstone's corrections facilities, and 6,524 are being rehabilitated at Livingstone Institute of Business and Engineering Studies, LIBES, at a total cost of 10,763,400 kwacha. And as a province, we are determined to make sure that all the presidential directives are attained.
The Minister of Education is determined to fulfill the presidential directive of ensuring no learner seats on the floor by end of 2023 in the province.
I'm here to promise you that the Ministry of Education is doing everything possible to ensure that you have a desk, you have a teacher, you have a classroom, and we will do it because we believe it. A day at a time, we will get that desk to you. Wherever you are, we will find you and we will make you sit on that desk. As a Ministry of Education, we're also partnering with our cooperating partners, the World Bank, UNICEF.
We have frames here at Mawagari, and then we have frames at Libes in Livingstone, some more frames at prisons in Livingstone.
Youths empowered with the skills and the CDF are now offered jobs to rehabilitate 17,900 desks at St. Mawagari, the Livingstone Correctional Facility, and the Livingstone Institute of Business and Engineering Studies.
The other young people in the community, that let them come out and take advantage of what government has provided in form of bursaries so that they can better their lives.
Can we have a sense of responsibility that this is done at a very big cost?
It's fulfilled. As pupils, we are grateful that our education is at the center of the President and government's developmental agenda.
Gifty Banji, ZANIS in Yoma, Southern Province.
Still in education news, Isoka Trades Training Institute in Muchinga Province has held its first graduation ceremony since 2019 when it was established with 963 graduates. Muchinga Province Minister Henry Sikazwe graced the ceremony and urged the graduating students to contribute their earned skills to help build the economy. In other news, this year's National Day of Prayer, Fasting and Repentance has officially been launched in Lusaka under the theme, Building Zambia for Greater Development Through Prayer, Unity and Hard Work. Gracing the launch, chairperson of the National Day of Prayer, Fasting and Repentance, Esther Jani, noted that hard work is a necessary component for personal and national development. More in this report.
This marks the official launch of the program to mark preparations to commemorate this year's National Day of Prayer. This year, the commemoration for the 8th National Day of Prayer, Fast and Repentance, which falls on October 18th, will be held under the theme Building Zambia for Greater Development Through Prayer, Unity and Hard Work. Chairperson of the National Day of Prayer, Fast and Repentance, Esther Jani, and other church mother bodies were at Cathedral Church of the Holy Cross to officially launch the religious day.
Firstly, prayer, though neglected by many, is one of the most powerful forces on earth that helps to put mankind in the right state of focus and brings God factor in human affairs. Secondly, hard work is also very necessary complement for personal and national development. Prayer, however, is not a substitute for hard work.
And Apostles Council of Churches President Ivas Kapinga has emphasized on the need for people not to politicize the day.
What to repeat is the day of national prayer should not be politicized. I'm challenging the church today. It is our duty to preach peace. It is our duty to bring people together. On this particular day, the day of 18th, for us to gather together, it is one thing that for a well-meaning Zambian who has a background of Christianity, this is the day that we should take advantage.
Meanwhile, Evangelical Fellowship of the Zambia Executive Director, Bishop Andrew Mwenda, explains the importance of peace in the country.
We are gathering together to seek the face of the Lord for peace, reconciliation, of course, but much more, according to the chairperson of the ZANIS, that we are gathered to pray and also to make sure that this country is built on a good foundation of prayer and hard work.
Munachipende for ZANIS in Lusaka.
In health news, government has completed the construction of a 289,000 kwacha health post in the Fibanga area of Mukushi district in Central Province. The construction of the health facility using the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, has elated the local people who cover a distance of 15 kilometers to access the nearest health facility.
Isolated and remote, the people of Fibanga, 15 kilometers south of Mukushi, had to cover long distances to access medical care. There was no health facility in the area, but through the 2022 Constituency Development Fund, Mukushi Council has built these health posts.
Twalikweta obwafya obukalamba sana panu mata turakwata ichipatala. So now after we take over New Dawn government twachita apply batupere ichipatala tulenekera okwebati buli obwafya obwo twalepitamu because ichipatala oko kyabera kutali.
Council Chairperson Melson Chilemo and District Commissioner Jonathan Kapungwe inspected the facility, whose construction works have since been completed.
To look at this project, this project is for 2022 CDF, and it costed 2 289,000 under a local contractor.
Mr. Kapungwe is impressed with the quality of work.
This is very neat, I must say. It's one of the projects we have seen where a contractor and his men, their workmanship is excellent. And I am appealing to Council through Council Chairman that such contractors, we need quickly to graduate them. We give them now bigger projects.
The people of Fibanga area have praised government for the construction of the health post.
turashupi kwa fwe bana mai paka tuye tufike kulia limbile bayabukira munshira pali apene wasika kusukira na munshira.
Hlupekile Nkonika for ZANIS in Mkushi District, Central Province.
Finally, in the news, the Mental Health Network in Luansha District on the Copper Belt has appealed to government to put up deliberate measures to accord its members opportunities to form cooperatives and access the Constituency Development Fund, CDF. The network representative Marcel Jengo observed that such incentives would help promote sound mental health and reduce stress and relapses among mental health users. Details in the following report.
Thompson District Hospital attains to a total of about 3,000 patients on a monthly basis. Out of these attendees, about 10% of those seeking health services are those seeking specialized treatment, that is, mental health services. Patients attended to are of different age groups.
Mental health issues is among some of the challenges being addressed by the government and other stakeholders. In Luansha District on the Copper Belt Province, the Mental Health Network is appealing to government to accord its members chance to form cooperatives to access CDF.
We wish to make an appeal for government to put a deliberate policy which mental health users can be accorded a chance to form cooperatives so as to access CDF as one way of avoiding stress and later on relapse.
The government is committed to addressing the emerging health concern.
Our government and policymakers have a significant role to play in ensuring that mental health is given the attention it deserves. Advocating for mental health friendly policies and increased funding for mental health services is crucial.
However, the district commissioner is concerned with the abuse of restricted drugs by school-going children.
Name the school. You are going to find a mental health challenge emanating from consumption of drugs, restricted drugs. So I want to encourage you to get closer to the schools.
Through inclusive and supportive policies, government continues to strive for a mentally healthier nation. Karen Mshenywa, ZANIS, Luansha District.
As we end the news, we take a look at the headlines. VIP calls for partnership in implementing Children's Code Act. Government resumes NEPA training for civil servants. More stakeholders praise President Hichilema's directive to review fuel prices. And National Day of Prayer, Fasting and Repentance launched. Well, that's all we had for you from our news desk. On behalf of ZANIS production crew, I've been your presenter, Trust Pemba. For now, it's goodbye.